Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get the updates. Release every day's video. Beer comes courtesy of Chris. Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it. I did already open it. I had, not this exact beer, but I had one like it. I went to film it a couple weeks ago, and it did gush. Of course, the one I opened over a sink did not gush, so whatever. It is what it is. This is from Hightower Brewing Company. This is Bedtime Story Chapter 8, and it says 14% ABV, barrel-aged Imperial Stout, but I was pretty sure it had more going on, so I did look it up, which I rarely do. It has coffee, I forget what kind of specific coffee, cacao nibs, and then 3 different kinds of vanilla beans. Was it Mexico, Ugandan, and Madagascar? But if I remember, I will put the holistic description in the description box below. Yeah, let's get into it. That's pretty dark. There is some brown, but that's a dark beer. Not a lot of head, which doesn't surprise me given the ABV and the adjuncts, but it's like it's pretty much mocha color, but it's not compact bubbles. Those are pretty big bubbles. It's pretty close to motor oil. Like I said when I was pouring it, you could see some brown. There's a little bit in there, but this is definitely on the darker side for stouts, which are dark style, obviously, to begin with. Things that don't need to be said. Let's get into the aroma. I am the vanilla police, and there is plenty of vanilla in this beer. So, you do get some coffee specifically, but it's very chocolate. You get cacao powder, you get dark chocolate, you get milk chocolate. I think the coffee and the cacao is helping flesh out the base beer as well in terms of all these different, almost like a rainbow of chocolate. Like there's so many different kinds of chocolate coming through. Kind of like with baking, you can put a little bit of coffee, into a chocolate dessert, and it kind of helps intensify it. I feel like the beer is doing the exact same thing with a nice like vanilla frosting kind of a note. I think it's not all adjunct. I think some of the base beer is coming through. I forgot to mention it's also Heaven Hills barrels. I'm going to assume most of this, if not all of the vanilla, is coming from. I'm so excited to try it. I'm like going as fast as possible to get to the taste. I'm assuming all of that vanilla, or at least the vast majority, is the vanilla beans, but maybe the barrel is kicking out some vanilla, and like that would make sense, but it'd be hard to pick that out specifically. Yeah, it's just so chocolatey. Now I'm getting like some Hershey's syrup kind of chocolates. I mean, there's just so much chocolate going on. Brownie batter, it's sweet, but not overly sweet, at least not in the aroma. I get the faintest kiss of the spirit. It's not a lot. It has that pastry stout smell, but like the sophisticated, the adult version, if you will. Smells really good. Let's get into the taste. Cheers. Thanks again, Chris. Yeah, that does not disappoint. Wow. The hero of this beer is that coffee and cacao, because that really helps balance out the sweetness so it doesn't become overly sweet. It's a lot like the aroma. Big vanilla. There is that sweetness there. It's not creamy like a vanilla frosting can be, but it has like that level of like, well, not quite, because how do you separate the vanilla from the confectionery of the frosting? But like it does have a really nice oomph of vanilla. You get some of the base beer, you get that chocolate, and again, just like the aroma, multiple ways. But then that coffee and that cacao, that bitterness is needed. And again, I think the base beer is probably kicking out some. It's hard to discuss this beer without really relying on the adjuncts, which is totally fine. Obviously, it would be cool to try this exact beer without the adjuncts. To see how much roast and things like that are coming through just from the base beer. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say the cacao and the coffee are really, really holding it down. And so it's not getting like overly sweet. It's tying it back to beer taste a little bit. I get a little bit of dark berry and black cherry. I'm getting some oak, which is nice. I think, again, that talking about things that are really tying this back to beer and not overly sweet. The oak is helping keep it from being overly sweet, kind of, add some of that dryness, some of the tannins, are helping with that. Not a ton of bourbon in it, but again, because of the adjuncts, it could be kind of masking some of it. But like, I'm not getting coconut, and again, any vanilla I'm getting out of it could just be the beans 100%. Hard to tell. Oh man, it smells good. That coffee with the chocolate, so you get some of the mocha sensation for sure. Caramel. Very, 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 very light, but there is like this kiss of caramel, which is another added layer of depth. Not full on Rolos with the chocolate caramel because the caramel is so light, but it is there. But it really is. I mean, it's. I'm gonna go out on a limb. It's a really awesome base beer, and then they did the adjuncts well, and it's all working amazingly. And the fact that I've been focusing on the adjuncts in no way is a knock on this beer. This beer is delicious. They, in my opinion, knocked it out of the park with this beer. So well done, Hightower. This is phenomenal. Thanks again, Chris, for sending. I really appreciate it. Have you had this beer? Have you had anything from Hightower? I've reviewed a bunch of their stuff at this point. Everything from fruited sours to beers like this and everything in between, hoppy beers, all that stuff. They make a lot of styles and they do it well. Have you had a beer like this lately? Anything, everything, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. So please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.